Salut mes amis, bienvenue. That is, welcome to a video response to LatumWay's video, a question about limited government in Starbucks. Hey there LatumWay, Bound to Tell here. This goes against my entire plan, but I'm going to make a response to your latest video instead of kicking off a series I'm calling the Atheist Hymnal. Anyway, so to the point you make in your video is that when left to their own devices, it appears that corporations tend to be very anti-competition. Obviously, this goes against the economic libertarian philosophy of the economy based on competition. Now, I'm by no means a capitalist, and I've failed at twisting that label to apply to me even in the broadest senses, but I can appreciate their philosophies. I prefer to liken the government's ideal role in a functioning governmental society that excludes anarchism, obviously enough, as that of a referee. I know this is by no means a new comparison, but I always wonder how sports games would go without a referee. Leave people or businesses to their own devices and a good enough incentive to harm you for their benefit, and they will likely harm you. So what does the referee do in a sports game? Make sure the sport is played by its rules. A functioning economy, even an anarchist one, needs some form of rules. If you give the referee no power to enforce these rules, then it's as if he's not there. And this is how I tend to view the ultra-limited government philosophies. To hold up the current size of society these days, we need a fairly large governmental body to do so. Now that statement starts to get a little too deep into what I really wanted to talk about, so I'll move on. On Monday, I uploaded a video about the stark difference in my 2 visits to a local Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or as I normally call it, Mormon Church. In that video, I claimed that the benefits of organized religion outweigh the positive, so we have ourselves the perfect example here. Starbucks, as you mentioned, is a company that has indeed done a lot of good things, enough to earn the support of many people. I love that they've done good things, but as you pointed out, this goodness comes at a cost. The cost being all of the independent coffee shops and cafes and all the other things like that. Basically, the good comes at the cost of a monopoly. I'm not going to go into the economics behind why monopolies are better left to board games, but suffice it to say I'm not a fan, and I would not wager many people are. So now we have to analyze this the same way I've analyzed the Mormon Church. Is the cost of having a monopoly or yet another giant mega corporation gaining yet another sizable chunk of the economy through incredibly aggressive expansionism worth it for the good that Starbucks does? Now, one can easily go on an incredibly long economic tangent, but again I will refuse to do this. Rather, I would say that all the good Starbucks does can be done without the bad. Easily so, in fact. Non-profits and charities bring incredible amounts of good without the need for aggressive expansionism. Why? Their only incentive is to get enough money to be able to accomplish their goal. Their incentive is not to provide shareholders with a profit. The profit motive is one of the least likely to encourage acts of good or kindness or charitableness or anything like that. This is because the profit motive does not take any sense of morality into account. It is completely amoral. Now, is this not the same thing about a church? Churches often lack a profit motive, yes, but they don't really have a strict motive for good. A charity is an organization set up with the intention to do only good. Anyone who has done charity work can tell you that it's not really a path to financial success. Specifically, it's not even a business in the capitalist sense of the word. I'm going to collect my point here because I feel like I'm beginning to lose it. My point is that the good Starbucks brings is not worth the bad. Through a free institution, they seek to impose their own authoritative rule over it. How is a corporation authority any less harmful than a governmental authority? Therein lies a bit of contradiction in the ultra-limited government philosophies you mentioned. Similarly, the good ideas of organized religion are not worth the bad. Through a free institution, thought, they seek to impose their own authoritative rule over it. They distort the truth for those seeking the truth, and Starbucks distorts the free market for those seeking the free market. It's all the same, is what I'm trying to get at. Why have these institutions in place that do good that could be provided in other ways that don't bring the same amount of bad? These institutions either need to be done away with, or there needs to be regulation in how they're able to do the things they do. In my country, the US, we're supposed to have the regulation of religion in the sense that it is not supposed to even take part in the government. Of course, this is not perfect, but sadly enough, it is probably the best we can do at the moment. And I, like you, am not inherently against corporations. While I prefer non-profit companies over for-profit, I definitely understand the role of the profit motive. It does lead to innovation. However, like most things, too much of it is bad. There needs to be regulation to make sure the companies serve the benefit of the society within which they exist and without which they would not be able to exist. There needs to be regulation to counterbalance the inherent amorality of the profit motive. With the right policies, forces of evil can be turned into forces of good. Anyway, I'm Bound to Tell, and I probably could have done a much better job illustrating my point here, but I think I got it across. Au revoir, mes amis.